Hard to say. I felt like we played with a lot of energy. The tempo was really, really good. Quarterback-wise, made some real good run reads, threw some good balls, threw some probably not so good. Again, without watching on film, hard to say, but I felt good about just the energy that we played with and the things that we accomplished. Hopefully the next 2 weeks we'll grow quite a bit. We need to grow quite a bit the next 2 weeks. Yeah, I felt like we saw some. I did. I felt like we saw some stuff from the tailbacks in general, and that's really a key is getting a few of those where you crease somebody, but then they go and score rather than creasing them and getting a 25-yard gain. And we feel like that. This today, just from watching it as it was unfolding, we had a couple nice long runs. Had a couple other runs where I felt like we really finished well, got our pads down, and finished with positive yards after contact. And that's what they need to do. I mean, I think we've got a tendency a little bit to feel like we don't have big backs, so we're not going to ever move the pile, and we need to get our pads down and finish runs.
Who were some of those guys?
Well, I thought Wimberly popped out and had a nice long run. I know DV, Devondre Neely had a nice run, and James White had popped out and did a nice job. So all three of those true tailback type kids, I was happy with what they did.
What about the wide receivers? Have you seen any?
Unfortunately, Tad Ekby didn't practice today, and he had been having an extremely good spring. Was really happy with him. Bundridge, I've got to make sure as a play caller I do a better job trying to get him as the main target. I really do. The next 3 or 4 days of practice, he needs to get a lot more catches than he's gotten. Part of that's my fault. I've got to make sure from a play calling standpoint he's the quote primary. Not that you're always going to get to throw it to the primary receiver, but that he's the quote number one look.
Is he better than you thought he got? Why do you want to make him number one?
Well, just in general, I feel like he's one of the top skill playmakers that we have. I really think Quentin can be that guy, and I've got to make sure that I get him matched up, no matter who it's against, a corner or running a curl route against a zone, where we as a play caller are getting options where he's the quote number one option. That's not to say that I want him to always be who we're throwing it to, but you can't go through a game if you feel like he's your best wideout with him only getting three or four opportunities where he's the main focal point. That's what I'm getting at.
Is it tougher to gauge completely too without Ernst able to take contact? Obviously, as important as he's going to be.
Really tough right now as you watch that scrimmage. Just trying to fit all the pieces together with missing as an Ernst as an example, a Tad Ekby as an example. Would really like those guys to be out there, and then that does allow us now to spread it out a little bit more. I don't need one guy to get 80 catches in a season if I've got a whole bunch of guys that can make plays, and I felt like that we do have a number of guys that can make plays. Like I said, the 3 running backs I was really happy with, and we need to get EJ and Ernst out there because as tight ends, they're very, very athletic, big guys.
How do you feel like the line's been playing with Coach Klanakis in here now?
Been really, really happy. I feel like Tommy Farniak, being another year older, another year as a starter, has really taken a leadership role from a standpoint of wanting his guys to be nasty, physical guys, and Coach Klanakis plays right into that because that's his personality. That's his leadership style is, we're the union, we're the guys out here going to go to work every day, we're the guys that are going to grind, we're the guys that when a play gets done, somebody's going to look over and say, well, did you see that finish that lineman just had? And everybody sees the finish that a wideout or a skill guy has when they make a big play, but not everybody notices when a lineman finishes, when they finish that play with a pancake or they finish that play with an extra effort. And that's one of the things that Coach Klanakis has really stressed is you finish with an extra effort.
Coach talked about he talked a lot about accuracy with the quarterbacks to open the spring. What's that been like so far these first few days?
I don't know that our accuracy is probably as good as I want it to be. We have not, for one reason or another, be it play calling or their choice as a quarterback, we've not taken hardly any of the quick screens, be it a quick screen, be it a bubble screen, and we need to take those, quote, easier plays so that we do keep that completion percentage up. Using last year as an example, if you look at our play action passes, you'd say, I don't know if you completed a high enough percentage. It was about 50%. But per play called, we were averaging about 20 yards per play call of those. So it's not going to be a high completion percentage. So I've got to offset those play actions that I do want to run with getting it out of our hand in a hurry with quick hitches and quick screens and running traditional old curl, where it's a curl flat read and you got your outside guy pushing up to 12 yards and running a curl and your inside guy running to the flat, and you're just kind of reading the strong safety and playing catch. So.